I used to follow this thing without thinking.
I didn't realize how much it shaped what I paid attention to.
Mine's clear. One main road, easy turns, signs everywhere. I guess that's the way most people go.
Mine's harder to read. Lots of small paths. Some fade out, some cross each other. It takes work to see where they lead.
Simple usually feels right. At least that's what I've been told.
There are so many people on your route.
Yeah. It's nice not having to think too hard.
I can see why everyone follows it. The ground feels solid.
It works. Look how far we've come. Why risk another path?
I see more than one road. I'm curious about what's on them. Look, over there. I thought these paths were empty.
I barely see them.
They're there. You just have to look closer.
If those paths were essential, wouldn't they be easy to spot?
Maybe they get overlooked. Why does everyone's map point the same way?
I feel like something's pulling us that direction.
We each inherit narrative maps, stories passed down that tell us who we are, where we belong, and which way is forward. These narrative maps help us make sense of our terrain. They can make one way forward look natural, even inevitable, while obscuring other routes or making them appear risky. When we hold too tightly to a single narrative map, we assume our way is the only way to get where we want to go. And because stories shape what we expect to see, the paths our maps highlight often feel like the only ones that are truly there. But no one map tells us the full story. When we step back and examine our narrative maps, we can begin to ask, where did my map come from? Who drew it? What did they have in mind? What did they leave off? And what assumptions do I make when I follow it?
Looks like the maps were right after all. Everyone's headed this way.
Yeah. Even the trails on mine that were supposed to split seem to curve towards here.
Guess that's how you know it's the right path.
Or the only one left.
Oh, feels good to finally move with the current, doesn't it?
Feels like something's moving us.
You always overthink it. Sometimes the world just falls into place.
For some of us.
Just lean back. It'll hold you up.
It's not strong enough.
I can pull you. Come this way.
If I come that way, I will drown.
Why do I feel alone? Even here. Where did Ori go?
I can still hear the river, but it doesn't carry me. It's too strong for my map. And no one seemed to notice.
The force of the river shapes which stories can be seen and which are submerged. Learning to notice that current is part of what it means to think narratively. To think narratively is to notice the work stories do, how they orient us, how they make some directions feel natural and others impossible. Some stories grow so large they start to feel like the world itself. We move inside them without noticing the edges, repeating their plots as if they are fact. These dominant narratives carry stories that feel familiar or legitimate, while other stories become harder to see and harder to tell. Dominant narratives work by simplifying what's around them, erasing contradictions, and turning complexity into certainty. That's why they feel so steady for those whose stories fit within them. And certainty feels good. It gives the mind a quick sense of relief, which is part of why we reach for it even if it narrows what we can see. But steadiness and certainty come at a cost. The smoother and more certain story, the more it hides. That's when stories stop guiding us and begin to define us, when narrative simplification becomes narrative dominance. Before long, stories can guide us away from people who might otherwise walk alongside us. When we start to notice the narrative shaping our lives, we can ask, what larger story are we moving within? What stories feel settled and unquestioned, and which never seem to surface at all? Everyone looks so sure about the direction we're going. It's hard to tell if we're moving or just being moved.
My map's almost gone. I wonder why it couldn't withstand the river.
How did I lose Ori? I thought this map was the right one to follow, but it didn't help her. Maybe it's missing something, or is it too limited?
Over time, the river's path grew so wide. Its dominance submerged so much beneath the surface. Let's see if anyone notices me this time.
That wasn't there before. Someone's marking something.
Someone's noticing.
Wow! Whoa!
It's messy. Maybe that's how it's supposed to look. The river still runs.
But the map reveals more than the river allows. Thinking narratively doesn't lift us out of powerful stories. It lets us redraw within them or around them, surfacing what's been erased, connecting what's been kept apart, and multiplying the routes we can travel together. Not all stories are equal. Some confine and erase. So we ask, which stories make room? Which build bridges? And how can we keep populating the terrain with paths that allow more of us to find our way?
Yours says the bridge is here.
Mine says the path extends further over there.
Maybe it does both, depending on where you're standing when you draw it.
If we keep adding new paths, no one will know which way to go.
If we stop adding them, we'll lose half the places that ever existed.
Maybe direction isn't about choosing one path. It's about noticing how the paths overlap and diverge.
You keep redrawing your map. How do you know it still leads anywhere?
I used to think the map was supposed to stay the same. But the landscape keeps shifting. Maybe the map should too.
You cut the center.
I wanted to see what was underneath, what the river was hiding. There's so much more here than I thought. My map's expanded, but there are still things on yours I can't see on mine.
I know, the ground is always shifting around us. We'll have to adapt, and we can do that together.
We live in discomfort knowing that not everything will be resolved. maps will contradict each other. Multiple truths will exist at the same time. The terrain now holds more stories than it once could. Uneven, bright, shifting. No single path completes the map, and not all stories guide us well. But every story made visible changes how we move and what we can imagine. Thinking narratively means seeing how stories shape the world we live in. What stories get carried by the current, what get erased, and what might be redrawn. It means turning our attention to the stories themselves, noticing how they pull and divide us instead of focusing on the people caught inside them. It means traveling with awareness, knowing that our own maps are partial, and that every path we follow adds to or alters the terrain itself. Reflection reveals the pull towards simplicity in stories, helping us return again and again to what they are doing and how we're being carried or constrained by them. As those stories loosen their hold, it becomes possible to see the landscape as full of stories and begin to find direction in complexity. In this richer landscape, we live inside questions that resist coherence in a world that's constantly shifting and evolving. And we can begin to walk with people we once diverged from.
It's strange. Once you start seeing more of the terrain, you can't really unsee it.
And it makes you wonder, what else might be there?